It all starts Friday at 7:30 with red carpet arrivals. G4ia, presented by EB Games and Jeep.
Stay tuned. The Screensavers, next.
Tonight, it's a special best-of edition of the Screensavers. We're highlighting your favorite free, cheap, and downright amazing segments you've grown to love us for. So sit back, relax, and put away your pocketbooks. It's our Screensavers Free and Cheap Special, Volume 2!
Hello and welcome to the special free and cheap edition of the Screensavers. I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Sarah Lane. Welcome to one jam-packed show.
Now, we know you love the dark tips and the downloads, the OS tweaks, but we especially know you love them when they're completely free.
Absolutely. So we decided it was time for Free and Cheap, Volume 2. Everything you're about to see on the show is completely dirt cheap, if not totally free.
Which brings us to everyone's favorite free OS, Linux.
That's right. Now, I'm a big Linux fan. As long as it's not a pain for me to set up.
It can be.
And it can be, but this first download of the day is not only easy to set up, it's not only free, but it'll also save you some major desk space. Take a look. This is fun. Okay, let's say you have a Linux computer and a Windows computer. You have two different operating systems, and you only have one desk. You want to save some space, right? This is exactly what I'm doing right here. I've got a single keyboard, a single mouse. I have Linux on my left and Windows on my right, and as you can see, I'm just going to highlight some text over on the right hand. This is my Windows computer. I'm going to copy, and I'm just going to move my mouse over to the left, and I'm going to paste that text. How did I do that?
You can't do that.
How did I do it? It's called Synergy. It's a free open source program, and it works like a dream. Isn't that fun? You can install it on multiple systems. Obviously, you could do it on 50 Windows machines, but the fun is to go between Windows and Linux. They just talk TCP/IP networking, so it's just IP addresses are talking to each other, and it works. Now, what I'm going to have to do is shut it down. Well, let's go back a couple times. Ooh, highlighting, and oh, highlighting over here. Isn't that fun?
That's amazing.
Tools, favorites, and isn't that great?
That's really amazing.
It's so cool. So you can copy and paste text. You can't drag Windows, obviously, between multiple operating systems because they don't know, they're not talking the same language. But what I'm going to do now is just, I have to stop Synergy, and I'll show you how I set it up. Okay, so we'll just go to quit, and then I will relaunch this. This is the Synergy setup. This is really the core. I actually had Kevin help me out at first because I'm new to Linux. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it really was. So what you do first is I'm saying, okay, I want my Windows machine to be the server machine. It's your choice. It can be whichever one you want, but I'm more comfortable with Windows, so that's what I did. What I have to do is give it a name. It has to be the name of this computer, right? So you could find that out by going to my computer and computer name. It's called Demo, so I called it Demo. Now I add my second screen, so that's my client screen, right? And this is my Linux machine. It's called localhost.localdomain. The way that I found that out is over on the Linux side, in network configuration, under the DNS tab, you see what the host name is, localhost.localdomain. So that's just, that's just what it is, right? It's not very exciting, but that's how it works. Okay, so once I have my two screens, you can, like I said, you can set up as many client screens as you want, but I'm just doing two for our purposes today. Under the demo screen, I want to say, okay, on the left-hand side, when I'm looking at my setup, localhost.localdomain, that's my Linux machine, it's on the left. On the right is Demo. That's my Windows machine. Now, I've got to set that up for each client computer that I also use. So when I click on my Linux computer, again, I've got to set up left and right. They both just need to know where they are in the big scheme of things, right? Okay, so once I've done that, I have several more options. I can choose to say, I want the mouse to hang until I really, a certain amount of milliseconds before it comes over. Those are just other options that you can decide on. That's just totally up to you. You can also do above and below in the layout, which is cool. Let's say you have two monitors on top of each other. You don't have a left and right. You want to do up and down. You can do that too. I also had someone email me saying he was using his server machine as a dual monitor Windows thing, and that worked too. So you can really get crazy with this. Now, okay, what I need to do over on the Linux side in my terminal is just abort, and then I'm going to restart this. Situation successfully started. Okay, and am I back in business here? I think oh no, I have to go like this, started over on the Linux side, and now I'm back in business. It's super easy. Basically, all you have to do is install the RPM on Linux. Once you've installed the program on Windows, Linux being, if it's your client computer, and then just run a really simple script in your terminal, and you're good to go. Good to go. I swear, it was really that easy. I'm so excited it worked. Anyway, it's the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are using Windows and Linux. I know you guys. You email me all the time. I just saved you a keyboard and a mouse. Isn't that fun? And I was so excited about Windows and Linux talking to each other in that segment, I kind of neglected to mention that Synergy also works on other configurations, like Linux to Linux, for example, and it supports both OS X and FreeBSD, so the possibilities are totally endless.
It's pretty easy to set up, too. I was playing with it before the segment. You just simply follow the documentation, you'll have that thing up and running in no time. Now, you too can download Synergy by checking out Sarah's article. It's available, of course, at thescreensavers.com.
That's right, folks. Now, we have an incredible show still ahead of us, still to come. Monitor your Wi-Fi for war drivers and other traffic under the radar, and keep your sensitive data hidden on a secret drive. But after the break, it's Linux in 3D! Prepare to be amazed when the Screensavers Free and Cheap Special Volume 2 returns!
Welcome back to the Screensavers Free and Cheap Special Volume 2.
Yes! Now, this next program is one of the most unique spins on Linux I've ever seen. You get it, spins?
That joke isn't even funny until you actually see the segment.
That's true. Well, then take a look.
I got an email a few weeks ago from a viewer that said, I love Sarah's Windows tweaks and tips, but what about the hardcore Linux customizations? Well, we've shown the black box and some other alternative Windows environments for Linux, but today I wanted to show you 2 fun tweaks for KDE, Matrix GL and 3D Desktop Switcher. So let's take a look at them right here. I have it installed, a Linux box.
What's KDE?
KDE is the desktop environment, or one of the desktop environments for Linux. That's what I'm running right here. So when you see all these menus and the scroll bars and everything, the whole operating environment, that is KDE.
So it could be that or GNOME or even other
Exactly.
ones.
There's like a whole handful of 10 or 15 of them. So I went with KDE on this one, and I'm in a shell right now. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see me zoomed in here. And what I love is, this is Debian Linux, and what I love so much about it is you can choose, you can do installations using an apt-get command. And what apt-get does is it makes it so easy for you to install applications. If you want to install something, you don't have to compile it. You don't have to go through all of that headache that you do with...
You don't have to manually install and check for updates in 40 different folders inside of Linux.
Exactly. All you do is type apt-get space, the name of the application. In this case, I'm going to do apt-get install space, I believe it's the GL matrix. And then once I hit enter there, it is going to go ahead and install the GL matrix into the machine. And once I do that, all I have to do is click on these settings here, and I'm going to choose another setting here. This is within the KDE desktop environment. If you take a look at here, it says the behavior setting is to say allow programs to run in the desktop window. So that means that applications can actually replace your desktop.
Oh, weird.
So I've done that, and I launched the GL. This is GL Matrix, so that has replaced my desktop altogether. That's basically a 3D Matrix-like screensaver, but it's actually your desktop. You can click on the KDE Start menu and get all your different things. It definitely beats the standard JPEG. But aside from that, now, if I want to switch multiple desktops, which I love doing in Linux, if you take a look at the bottom here, the bottom center here, you're probably used to this right here. This is your 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your different. You can click on that. That'll give you desktop 1. That'll give you the desktop 2, desktop 3, and desktop 4. Now, on each of the desktops, you can have different things running. Like this is a Conquer web browser that I'm running apple.com. Here I have a homepage at google.com. So if we can pull all the way out, I'm going to show you the switcher now. This is the 3D switcher. All I have to do is click this button here. You want to take it full of the screen here, and it's going to shrink it all down into Windows, allowing me to choose exactly which desktop I want.
And those are all being rendered in 3D.
Exactly. They're all being rendered in 3D, and all I have to do is say, I want the Google desktop. Boom, right there. I'm back into Google. So I can click on that again and then choose exactly which one I want. If I want, let's say, the Mac desktop, let's go back to that. There it is. And these are 2 fun, little, easy-to-install tweaks that you can do in KDE. I shouldn't say easy to install because it took me a while to get here. Now in my article at thescreensavers.com, you'll get links to Debian Linux, which is what I was using in the segment, Matrix GL, and 3D Desktop as well. Now, Sarah, what's coming up on the show?
Well, have you ever wished you could just hide a certain drive away from everyone else and keep your dirty little secrets to yourself? If you're a Windows user, I've got a handy little trick that'll hide all those goods without physically removing a thing. Listen up.
Here's Sarah with a sneaky little Windows tip.
That's right. I'm sneaky and I'm devious, and today I'm going to show you how to also be sneaky and devious, or just really careful with your data by hiding drives on your computer. You may have your computer partitioned in lots of different ways, but you might have a drive. What if you want to put a bunch of stuff on that and you just don't want anyone to know that it even exists? Let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got my computer open here, and if you look, I've got a floppy drive, a CD or W drive, and a DVD drive. Well, where's my C drive? I don't have a C drive. I go, okay, well, let's just open Explorer. Maybe I'll see it that way. And I look, A, D, and E. I don't have a C drive. There's no C drive. What's going on? Well, if I just go to the run command, I can get to my C drive, right? All I have to do is open it up. It's there if I navigate specifically for it. But you don't see it in the typical ways that people look and see what's going on with your computer. The way that I did that is a registry edit. It's fun. It's a really fun, sneaky one, but you have to follow my directions specifically. So let's open it up. First, you're going to navigate to this key. It's down here on the bottom area of regedit. Don't worry, it's in my article. Current user, software, Microsoft Windows, current version, policies, Explorer. Once you get to the Explorer key, I want you to create a new D-word value called no drives. The way you would do that is just to right-click, new, D-word value, and then, as I've already done, I want you to name it no drives. You just do that by renaming it. Now, inside no drives, over on the right-hand side under data, you can see that I've got a value of 4 here. Now, the reason that that is because if you look at my little cheat sheet in my article here, I have a decimal representation of all of my 26 alphabetical drives. A is 1, B is 2, C is 4, D is 8. You kind of get an exponential type of increasing values here. And I've just gone, so my C drive has a value of 4, okay? So all I have to do is go back to my registry editor and give my no drives value a value of 4. Now, when I go to modify it, you're going to right-click and hit modify. This is very important. What it will do by default is choose hexadecimal as a base. You want to make that decimal before you enter your number. So make sure that your base is chosen as decimal or it won't work, because that's how my codes are in decimal format. Hexadecimal will give you something entirely different. So heed my warning. Once you've done that, all you have to do is restart your computer. This requires a restart. You can't just close your reg editor. You have to restart, and your drive will be invisible. Now, let's say you say, well, what about if I wanted my C and my F? That's fine too. All you have to do is add the 2 drives together and use that as your decimal value. So, for example, if you wanted your C and your D, C is 4, D is 8, you would add a decimal value of 12. C and D would now be invisible. It is totally, it's just error-free. It's great. And if you want all of them invisible, for who knows why you would want that, the value would be, well, let's see, 67,108,863. I don't know why you'd want that, but just to scare your friends or just make people think you don't have any drives on your computer anyway. It's fine. This is such an easy one. As long as you have your values right, you're in business. Those instructions, again, of course, at thescreensavers.com. All right, so Kevin, what do you think that you would hide on your secret drive? I think for me it would be finances.
That's a good one.
Let's keep those safe. And also that Excel spreadsheet I've made of future baby names.
Why would you hide future baby names?
So people don't steal them for their own babies. I don't want them stealing my ideas.
You're insane. As for me, I'd probably hide our private photo collection.
What private photo collection?
It's time for a break. Still to come on the show, Sarah's going to turn your Windows desktop into a sphere. And after the break, got a Linksys WRT54G router. And you got Linux, my friends. I'm going to explain how to access it when the Screensavers Free and Cheap Special Volume 2 returns. Welcome back to the Screensavers Free and Cheap Special Volume 2. I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Sarah Lane, owner of a Linksys router. It's a pretty common thing around wireless home networks. Kevin and I both have them because they're simple to use and they're very cheap.
Very true. And depending on the model, they'll run you somewhere between $60 and $100. But once you've got a Linksys router, the WRT54G model in this case, there's a lot more you can do with it for not one extra penny. Let's take a look. Now, Linksys routers right here, you've seen them all over Best Buy, probably the most popular home router on the market. We love them. Great products.
Yes.
But what most people don't realize is that inside these devices runs embedded Linux. Cool. But the only thing is that the problem is that Linksys doesn't give you access to the Linux OS. So today we have a hack so that you can take full control. Uh-oh, Patrick has his hand in the air.
I can say it now.
You can make a Linux intrusion detection system.
There you go.
In your Linksys.
Linksys Linux Intrusion Detection System, IDS.
Now you've been practicing.
Yes, I have. This is actually what happened is that every time you write Linux into a device and you improve the code, you have to re-release it. It's open source.
Right.
So what happened
is
part
of the GPL.
Exactly, the GPL. And so they re-released the code, and there was some little hackers that got into the code and said they found an exploit in the ping command that was built into it. So what they did is that they're starting to re-release firmware so that you can re-flash this and expand the features that's built into your normal Linksys router.
Cool.
So
you said ping command or pin command?
Ping command, because it built in, for some reason, they have this little ASP script. It's a ping ASP script, and they found a little exploit in there that allowed them to load files within
ping being like 192.168.2.1
exactly.
and 256 milliseconds, 11 milliseconds. So I send information and get it back.
Exactly, and so they found, and they've been releasing these BIOSes. Let's take a look at some of them right now. Let's get right into it. This right here is your standard Linksys setup screen. Now, what's going to happen is the way you're going to improve this and reflash the BIOS is if you go into here under, let's see here, status here, we can see that, look at the firmware version here. That does not say Linksys anymore. What we did is we ran a little application that overwrote the BIOS but kept everything intact and just added some functionality to it. So it's very easy to do. It's not like you have to hack anything or get into do any fancy commands. You just run update on the BIOS and it automatically just loads it in. You see a little process indicator go across the screen and it's a done deal. But once you've done that, let me show you some of the cool things that it's added. Let's go into administration here. And it's added so many different features. I only have a few minutes here, so I can't go through them all. One of my favorite here, bandwidth management. It allows you to manage the bandwidth so that you can only say, I only want to send so many kilobits uplink or downlink to certain ports or certain subnets within my router.
So could I route it so, like, say, one of the children can only
exactly
use
only take so much that you get all the rest of the bandwidth. Isn't that awesome?
That's cool.
And then take a look at this here. We have different things like you can enable cron, so you can have cron services running.
Leo's favorite Linux service.
Indeed. Let's take a look at some of the others here. SSH. I enabled the SSH server on here, and I actually generated an open SSH or an SSH key here that using a PuTTY tool, and I was able to SSH create a secure shell so that I could connect to the router completely securely. So when I'm transferring files and doing things like that, there's no way of someone intercepting that traffic or getting my password.
Cool.
Also, a little less secure.
Talk to the router itself, or does that
just to the router?
Okay.
From the client to the router.
Got it.
The other thing is, look at here. This is Telnet. I enabled Telnet on here, so that's ready to go. So what I'm going to do, since I already enabled Telnet, let's get into the Linux side of things. Oh, one other quick thing I wanted to show you though. This is really cool. One thing, it's going to take me a second to get here, so I don't want to. Under the advanced wireless settings, you can increase the transmit power of your router. Take a look at this here.
Is that a good thing or a
well,
bad
it can
thing?
be. Like you were saying before, we were talking about this earlier. You said there's certain times when you increase the power too much, you can have little hiccups and strange things happen.
It'd be really sloppy.
Really sloppy. But the implementation that I've read here, there was a guy that talked about how he had a wireless device that was upstairs that could not receive his broadband router. After he ran this patch, he bumped it up to 84 here, hit applied changes, and he had almost a full signal upstairs where he normally couldn't get it.
That's cool.
So that's pretty cool. Your normal Linksys router, the new ones allow you to do that, but this one does not. Let's go through the features real quick here. I'm going to go and I'm going to launch a command prompt. Let's go command here. Let's go and do a nice clear screen. I'm going to go Telnet. Take a look at this here, 192.168.1.1. There I've connected right to the box. I'm logged in. I can do my standard LS and see all the directory structure there. You can do so many different things. If you go into the www directory, you can see here that we have, this is all the files that you see, like the pages that you load. You can check them out, view them, do whatever you want to do. But what I did earlier is I went into the temp directory, because the temp directory is, whoops, where am I? PWD, let's see where I am. I'm in root, CD, TM, oh, I'm spelling temp, there we go. Okay, so I'm in the temp directory right now. I was used to Windows. And if we take a look here, I downloaded Kismet. So if we go into Kismet, I use the wget command. You can go wget, this command right here, and you can put in http://. I put the files at thebroken.org/kismet/ let me just see where I put them here. Kismet, let's pull up this window here. Okay, Kismet / and then Kismet_drone.conf. And we hit enter and see it download that file instantly. So you can pull any files that you want right into your Linksys router using the wget command over the internet.
Will that now show up in the HTML interface?
No, it will not. That just basically that just loaded it into the temp directory. So now what I can do is I can go real quick into the Kismet directory here and go into the bin where the executables are and run /kismet _drone. And that's going to start right there. If you take a look, I just started the Kismet service. You can see I executed the command right here. And now I can launch a client and connect to it. And now anytime that someone connects to my Linksys router, I can view exactly what they're doing, what types of information they're transferring over my router. So this is a great way that you can keep on top of who's connecting to your Linksys, especially if you don't have web enabled. And you can also put Snort on here. There's a whole list of applications, links to the firmware, Snort, Kismet, documentation, all my articles, screensavers.com.
If you're not a Linux tweaker, should you run Linux on your Linksys router?
You know, I would do the upgrade just because of all the extra functionality you get. You don't have to enable Telnet or SSH.
Okay.
You don't have to get to the command line level, but it does add, there's probably about 15 or so different things that I couldn't even touch on that expanded functionality that you wouldn't normally get with a default Linux router.
Cool.
Outstanding concept. I guess my practical question would be, what do you do with Linux day-to-day stuff once you've got it working on the Linksys router?
Well, Linux really isn't practical for the home user, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty hardcore to get in here and start messing with these tools. But the signal booster is really cool, how you can boost the signal strength up so much higher. I really like that feature, and any home user can use that.
Sold.
Set up Linux on your router just like I did. Read my article at thescreensavers.com.
Got to take a break, folks, but stay where you are because Kevin's got a free way to monitor anybody on your Wi-Fi network. And after the break, does your XP start button look like this? If so, you're not having any fun. Hack it senseless with my free Windows tweak next on Free and Cheap Volume 2.
Welcome back to the Screensavers. I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Sarah Lane. This is our second annual Free and Cheap special, and the best is yet to come. Coming up in this half hour, a 3D Windows desktop, old school arcade games on your Xbox, and get web-based email through your favorite email client.
Very nice. I wanted to show you something I've been working on. Check this out, a modified start button.
Oh, it's very creative. I see you've been reading my article on how to hack your XP start button.
I have indeed, Petit Tipper.
You guys can do it too if you watch this. No respectable Windows tweaker is complete without a thorough Windows start button hack, right? I mean thorough. Start text, the text that happens when you mouse over the start menu itself that says click here to begin, and of course that Windows icon. Nobody likes that. Let's change them all. First of all, I just want to show you what I did on my Windows start button. If we get in close here, down the left-hand corner, it doesn't say, let's see if we can get in a little closer perhaps. Okay, yes, it doesn't say start, it says princess, and it's got a nice little picture of me that my buddy Frank made a long time ago, and if you hover over it, it says touch any of my settings and you're toast, man, because I have to say things like that at work, because the boys will...
Oh, that's going to stop me right there.
Oh, yeah.
That'll stop me dead in my tracks.
I got to do what I can. They don't listen, but I try, right? Okay, so what you need to do is, first of all, download Resource Hacker. It's a great tool. Every tweaker must have it, and I want you to open explorer.exe. That's in... root Windows, everybody has it. It's very important though, so before you begin, please back it up. Just call it something else, BAK, whatever you want to do. Make sure that you have a copy of that before you start, because if you mess up, you're completely screwed. Once you have it open in Resource Hacker, I want you to expand String Table, and I want you to look for folder number 37. Open it up, click on the resource. You see a bunch of text here. You can see where I've written in princess. That used to say start. Make it whatever you want. You know, Kevin is a nerd. Something like that. Whatever you want to say, you can say. But remember, this is going to be on your taskbar, so you don't want it to be that long. So don't make it too long, or you're gonna waste some space. When you're done, you want to hit the button up on the top here that says Compile Script. That'll basically update what you've made your changes in. Now I just want you to open folder 34. Click on the resource there. And you just want to find where it says click here to begin. I've changed it to touch any of my settings and your toast man. And once you're done with that, I want you to go up to the bitmap folder here on the left, expand that, and here under folder 143, you can see where I've added my icon. The way that I did that, this used to be that very classic default start. I'm sorry, not start, Windows icon, the one that we like so much. I want you to just go to Action, Replace Bitmap, and at that point, you see my little icon, you say Open File with New Bitmap. You can choose at that point any bitmap of your choice. It needs to be 25 by 20 pixels. I have my bitmap that I'm using right now in my article. If for some reason you want the same one, when you're done with that, add it in, you click Replace. That's all you have to do. At this point, it's very simple. You can't really replace the explorer.exe file while you're in it because it's being used. So you have to restart in safe mode with command prompt, overwrite your original file with your new file. So once you make all these changes, create a new file and call it something besides explorer.exe in your Windows folder, overwrite that, restart, and you're done. It'll be there clear as day. I have very clear instructions in my Windows Geek article, if I wasn't quite as clear just now, at thescreensavers.com, on how to change start text, hover text, start button icon, all in one fell swoop. You can do it in 5 minutes. Now keep in mind that this is an XP-only tweak, but my article does have instructions for you Windows 98 users too. The steps also vary slightly for those of you in Windows Classic theme, so make sure you read the instructions carefully. What's up next, Kevin?
Are you concerned about who's accessing your wireless network? Not long ago, I showed Leo Laporte how to see everything and have the ultimate power. Kinda like He-Man.
She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Yes, She-Ra too. Get ready for this must-have wireless app.
So I remember you built a little device that was designed to kind of piggyback on people's Wi-Fi networks, do something like maybe, I don't know, share some files. So now you're covering the other side, how to protect yourself against people like that.
I am. I was sitting at home. I had a lot of time this, over the break, last couple of weeks, and surfing the web with my laptop, and it turns out my bandwidth was down to like nothing.
So you actually had somebody spying on you?
Somebody was on there. It turned out, I did a little research, and that was Dan downloading some Paris Hilton wallpapers. but that's okay. All the same, I found an application that will let you find out who is on your Wi-Fi and exactly what they're doing.
All right. What's that called?
This is called Air Snare.
Air Snare.
Air Snare. Check it out. What you do here is, the center column is really the most important. What you do is you define all the computers that you have in your home network. So here's just some examples. You type in their MAC addresses into a text file.
Okay.
So
and it opens that when it opens and it reads them in.
Exactly. So we have Sarah's Mac, iPack, D-Link router, blah, blah, blah. So then what you do from here is you start something. This here, you can start any one of your network devices, whether it be a wired or wireless network. Click on Start, and already it's starting to send alerts. And you should hear some audio coming out of this because...
So I don't understand. What's it doing?
Okay, what it's doing right now is, see those devices on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Those are new detected MAC addresses that it's never seen before. Those are new machines on the network.
They're not in the area on the right. Those are the approved
Wireless
ones.
access detected.
There we go. So it starts giving you all different types of alerts like that, and what it's going to tell you is that new machines are connecting to your network.
Oh my goodness.
So you leave this running in the background, and as machines connect, now look at the bottom, scroll down a little bit further. If you go down to where my mouse is at right here, you can see that's going to show us what the people are doing. You can see that their IP address and where they're surfing
Wireless access detected.
Yeah, because it's not much good to know what the MAC address is.
Exactly.
I mean, how are you going to pinpoint the person? But maybe if you know where they surf to.
Exactly. And then if you click this button here, it says Send Net Message. You can click on that. And it's
Messenger spam.
Yep, it's going to do a net send.
Wireless access detected.
And it says, you are connected to a private network. You're welcome to surf the web. However, your actions are being monitored. And then you just click Send Message. And, of course, if they have that enabled, they'll get that little pop-up on their machine.
So if you want to run your Wi-Fi without web protection, or even if you have web protection, or even WPA protection, if you ran this in the background, you'd know when somebody got on, and you could maybe you want to make it a somewhat public Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
You can send them a note saying, "Hey, hello, I know you're there. Just be cool."
Yeah, this is cool because you can tell what people are doing. If people are downloading songs off of Kazaa, you'll see that they're connecting to Kazaa networks and things like that. So it's good to know what people are doing. You don't want people to exploit your network and get you into any trouble.
Does it tell you if they open ports? Does it tell you what kind of traffic or just?
Yeah, yes, it does. Actually, I don't have any. Let me see if there's any examples here. There's none here.
If there were port 21 traffic, you know, oh, they got an FTP server.
Exactly.
Running.
It will say FTP. It will say email.
Oh, it says it.
It says it right on the screen.
Oh, that's great.
So it's pretty cool. And then also you can stop that. And you can go up to alarms here, and then to acknowledge alarm, and it'll clear it back to normal, so you're good to go.
That's what the red was
That's what the red does. Okay. And also, what I've also heard, this is being used for little shady things as well. There's hackers that are taking this and going into public Wi-Fi spots, connecting to Wi-Fi access points, and finding out where people are surfing and what they're doing.
So it's kind of a packet sniffer as well, because when you're on the network, it looks like your network.
Exactly. So you're doing you can do a little bit of everything with this program.
But you don't actually see the packets. You just see the IP addresses and the protocol being used.
You would have to use another type of software to capture all the packets.
All
right. But it's
Very
pretty cool. It's a fun little application. The cool thing is it's completely free.
Air Snare.
Now you can use Air Snare with a hover router too. You just have to kind of hardwire it in if you don't already have wireless set up. More, of course, in my article at thescreensavers.com. Now lots more coming your way, like a 3D window world right on your desktop. And after the break, old school meets new school. I put some of my favorite old arcade games right on my Xbox, and you can too when Free and Cheap Volume 2 returns. Welcome back to the Screensavers Free and Cheap Special, Volume 2. Now, are you ready for a whole new Windows world? Is it a world where there's no more viruses?
No.
How about, you gotta have gotten rid of, spam's gone, right?
Wrong again, sir! The Windows world that I'm speaking of is a three-dimensional universe. Hold on to your hats. Okay, we're all used to 2D desktops, Windows on top of each other, but does that mean Windows as you know them are the best they can be? Today's challenger is a free download called Sphere XP. Transforms XP into a 3D universe. It's really fun. Now, if you look at my desktop right now, I've got some stuff minimized. It looks pretty normal, right? Not so, because look, as I transform this into a 3D universe, this is actually the very, you know it, you love it, the Screensaver's wallpaper logo. We use it all the time. But if I go up to the top, sort of this north pole of the sphere, you can see that, in fact, it looks a little different. Before I get into the features, I just want to point out that down in the lower right-hand corner here is my sphere. I'm in the middle of it. Sphere XP wrapped the wallpaper around me all the way, 360 degrees, and now my programs can be they're sort of as they're virtual placeholders inside the sphere. It's very fun. So what I do to just get around the sphere is I hold down my scroll key and I can do all of that good stuff. Now, all of my programs can also be moved around inside the sphere. This is my Internet Explorer Google page. I can move it around anywhere I want to with my left click, and my right click what does it do, actually? It makes it closer or farther away. And these are my command prompt. Doesn't just have to be Internet Explorer, although I have noticed that it doesn't work with AIM, and I'm guessing it doesn't work with a couple other programs that are not necessarily Windows friendly. But for the most part, it does work. I've got Windows Media Player open and all of that good stuff. So, and also with my right click.
How do you maximize it, though?
How do you maximize? Oh, that's a very good point. Yes, one thing to note is that these are really virtual placeholders. It's almost as if they're minimized and Windows has taken a screenshot and just put it somewhere. So you can't actually write any of this stuff. I wouldn't be able to do anything on my command prompt until I make it active. All you have to do is just double click on it and it'll bring it up to the front. And then click once outside of the area and it'll go back to its little place. And it's great. It's fun. I don't really have a whole lot of time to tell you much more about it, except that spacebar will take you to the control area where you can change some colors of your grid. And in the controls you can say, well, what if I don't really want to use my right click to make my individual windows bigger and smaller and up front of me and behind me and all that good stuff? I can give it some different keystrokes. It's great. I had a hard time explaining that one. Some of these new, unique programs can really be a challenge to describe. Unfamiliar terms and technology, but as you know, that's my job. I'll stumble over it, so you don't have to. But I know you want to, so you can get it for yourself in my article at thescreensavers.com. Kevin, save me.
Happens to the best of us, though. That stuff can be hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Moving on, do you miss the long days of your youth spent playing Tecmo Bowl or, say, the original Zelda? If so, those days are back and coming straight from your Xbox. I showed Patrick just how easy it is, and now it's your turn. Let's take a look. Yeah. Well, today I'm going to show you one of my favorite third-party apps for the Xbox, MAME.
I gotta do it. Do you violate your warranty if you install a mod chip?
If you install a mod chip, yes. There are, however, ways to do it without actually opening the box now that does not violate your warranty.
Cool.
But we'll get into those later. But MAME stands for Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator, and it's going to allow you to run old-school Nintendo games, arcade games, over 4,600 games in total, right off your Xbox.
Very cool.
Yeah. So let's get started. Let me show you. The first step is to actually launch the Xbox and connect to Evolution X. Now, Evolution X is the desktop replacement, and it's going to allow you to give you FTP access to the machine. I'll show you here. I'll go into the system settings and then into the settings here. And here's the IP address that I want to connect to. So I'm going to, on my desktop machine, I'm going to fire up, I use Smart FTP. This is one of my favorite FTP clients here on the desktop. And let's go into here. Let's see here.
So using that to transfer all the games.
Yeah, we want to look at the scan out of the desktop machine here. We're going to go in, and here's all the zip files. Do we have scan of the desktop out of the? There it is. Okay. So all these files right here, these are all my local browser. These are the games that I own that I've downloaded. Different types of games, Rambo 3, Rampage.
You bought all the ROMs for these.
Yeah, I mean, you can go out and, well, if you have old school Nintendo games, you can back up all the ROMs yourself.
That's cool.
So yeah, there's so many different ways to get the ROM files.
Right.
What you do here is you connect to the Xbox, and actually on the lower screen here, this F drive, you see F drive applications, MAME on X. This is actually, I'm browsing through my Xbox. I just FTP'd into it.
Cool.
So what you do is you drag and drop the application on there, and then click on the ROMs, and this is where all your ROM files go. You just drag and drop the ROMs right on there. And then once you do that, you're good to go. You've copied over all the files, and you're ready to launch it. So then you go back to your Xbox here, and I'll go into the launch menu, and applications, and here is, you'll see it appears right there the second you install it, MAME on X. So we'll click launch. That's going to launch the program within your Xbox, and you'll see it come up here in just a second. And there it is, MAME on X. So now it says insert coin, but really just press a button. And here are all the games that I have, all the ROMs that I have installed. So all you have to do is choose a ROM that you like. Let's go with Dig Dug is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
and it launches MAME on X. Now it's taking that zip file that we just copied over, extracting it in real time, finding the ROM files, and then launching it. You can see here's the CPU that it's going to run. It's going to run at 3.1 megahertz.
Wow.
Is what we needed. And then here it launches it, kind of does some like really crazy things on the screen at first. And then
essentially this is emulating all the hardware that would have been in a stand-up arcade machine.
Exactly. It's turning this Xbox into that stand-up arcade machine. So here's Dig Dug. We'll go ahead and insert a coin. Let's see here. There we go. Got a couple credits. There it is. Remember Dig Dug? Dig Dug was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's amazing.
So, I mean, it's the exact game just like you played it, but this time I'm using the Xbox controller. And let's see if I can... I mean, same arcade game. Now, all you have to do is, if you want, is the start and back button on your controller. If you hit those two buttons, it's going to exit the game and then take you back to your list again.
Very nice.
So you just press the two buttons. It takes you right back to the main list, and now you can choose another game that you like all the other ones, Mario Brothers.
It's amazing. I totally hear in the audience. There's a bunch of people over the age of 20 who are like, yes, and there's a bunch of 8-year-olds who go like, I want to play Halo. That's stupid.
I know, this sucks.
This is awesome though.
I know, it's cool for us that I don't remember some of these games, but yeah, I did grow up with a lot of these myself. So here's the original Mario Brothers. Like I said, hundreds and hundreds. I mean, 4,600 games is what it supports.
It's amazing.
It's an open source project, so you can download it right off the web. It's on SourceForge. I have all the links to everything in my article. But it's a great little program that allows you to bring back all those games without having to hook up the old Nintendo.
Right.
I hooked up my old Nintendo the other day, and I had to blow in the cartridge like 10 times
just to get it
to play. Everybody remembers that. That sucks, So now I have my Xbox, and I never have to do any of that, and you can play it from one machine. Now, obviously, you're going to need to mod your Xbox before you can use MAME and install it on there. Those directions, along with MAME's info, are in my article at thescreensavers.com.
Now, coming up on the show, Kevin's and my favorite websites for free and cheap ideas. And after the break, got Yahoo Mail or a Gmail account? Want them to come through Outlook instead? The answers are next on Free and Cheap Volume 2.
Welcome back to the Screensavers Free and Cheap Special, Volume 2. I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Sarah Lane. Now, even though Gmail's popularity is on the rise, lots of folks are still using Yahoo Mail. It's free. It's got more storage than ever. But are you looking for an alternative to opening up your browser every time you want access? If so, watch this. A few of you may have been lucky, like I was, to get one of those highly coveted Google Gmail accounts. But if you haven't, one of the most other popular web-based email accounts is a Yahoo account. There's Yahoo and there's Hotmail. I like Yahoo because it always seems less spammy, and of course it's free and you can actually send bigger attachments with Yahoo. But what if you want to access your Yahoo Mail through a POP server using Outlook or Incredimail or any of those other email clients? Well, right now, Yahoo charges $20 a year for that feature. If you're paying that, you're getting ripped off because today's download will do the same thing for free. It's called Yahoo Pops. Free download, totally free, and all it does is let you get your Yahoo email from your client of your choice. So here's, of course, the web-based Yahoo email. What I've done is I have set up in Outlook Express, because Outlook Express is an easy one to use with any Windows system. And what I've done is I say I'm going to send and receive. It says, okay, I'm connecting to Yahoo Mail, and I'm going to receive one message of one. It's something that I forwarded to myself. How did I do that? Well, Yahoo Pops is running here in the system tray. That's all you'll see, this tiny little area down here. Otherwise, it's completely seamless. If I just right-click on this, I'll show you how I configured it. Here is where, if you were to click on your, if you were to log into your Yahoo account on the web, you have a bunch of options in your properties menu, right? How to receive email. Do you want to download emails from the inbox folder, or the bulk mail folder? That's kind of a nice thing with Yahoo Pops. You don't ever have to see your bulk mail when it's in Outlook Express or whatever your client is. Empty trash on exit. Download only unread emails, stuff like that. For sending email, you can choose, of course, to keep a copy in your sent items folder. That's all very basic, but you're not done once you've done that. The next thing you have to do is to choose your client. Now, for example, I use Outlook Express, and I'll show you kind of how I set up. I set up a new account, but I added some different properties than you normally would when you're just adding, a POP account. So we'll go into properties here. I just called it Yahoo Mail. And I've put in my name, I've put in my email address for Yahoo, so it knows kind of who I am. But my incoming and outgoing server is localhost. So that is what you use for Outlook Express. It's a little bit different depending on what your email client is, but this part doesn't change. The very important part now is that my outgoing server, I have to use, my server requires authentication. And in the settings, I add then my username and password again, the same way I would to log into Yahoo on the web. So I'm actually doing the exact same thing. It's just that I have this nice little interface that's doing all the work for me. So it's actually going, okay, let me log in, let me password, okay, let me download, and I just don't have to use my browser at all. So that's great. Now, let's say that you're saying, well, this really doesn't help me at all because I have a Mac or I'm running Linux. Well, it does because Yahoo Pops will work with Windows, Linux, Mac, even Solaris for you 3 people out there. And if you want to go, once you download the Yahoo Pops program and you click in the help area, it has a really good help menu here. As you can see, the mail clients that you can use are like Incredimail, Calypso, Mozilla, NPOP, Outlook Express, Outlook XP, Outlook 2000, Pegasus, Eudora, Lotus Note 6, and Microsoft Mail 4. So, and depending on what you want to use, you just go through that help menu. It tells you how you configure your account in your given email client of your choice. It's very easy, and it works, and it's free.
Now, is it just me, or did you need a little head and shoulders that day? Didn't get the extra moisturizing going on?
Are you saying it looks like I have dandruff, shirt?
There was a little dandruff on there.
It's not dandruff. I'm tired of this. It is carefully placed bleach flecks. It's fashion.
You pay people to spray bleach on you like that?
You know what? Not listening. For your new Gmail users, if you've got Gmail, you can also route Gmail through an email client. If you're not into the web-based thing, totally up to you. It's all at the article at thescreensavers.com.
Looks like dandruff to me. Now, don't go away. We'll be sharing our favorite online secrets for the best deals on the web when Free and Cheap Volume 2 returns. Before we sign off, let's talk about some of our favorite free and cheap sites on the web.
Okay, that's helpful.
Some of mine are binsbargains.net. That's one of my favorites. Also, gotapex.com is another deal site where people come to get good deals online. And, of course, my favorite, thebroken.org.
Thebroken.org happens to be a project of yours. How's that a free and cheap deal site?
There's free videos, and they kind of show you shady ways to get stuff for free. I thought it would be a good mention.
Very good ones, Kevin. Now, for free applications, I always check neowin.net.
Love that site.
For good Windows tweaks and registry fun, I love winguides.com. And this one seems obvious, but download.com's most popular list always has new applications popping up plus user reviews to help you decide what's hot and what's not. But for now, this is the end. This is the end of our special free and cheap edition on the Screensavers. I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Kevin Rose. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
We would like to thank our guests, Sarah.
Yeah.
And Kevin, and Sarah and Kevin, and it was pretty much all us this
Sarah
time.
and Kevin. Yeah. See you soon. Have a great night.
Jinx.
Give me a Coke.